What's up, everybody, and welcome once again to the Links and Locks podcast, the betting edition. I'm Jason Sobel from GolfBet. He has been Everill from the PGA Tour, and as always, we are going to play 18 holes, 9 bets for each of us, going back and forth. Benny, we've got the Arnold Palmer Invitational this week after what wound up being a very interesting, dramatic final round of the Honda Classic, which I'll be honest, I did not see that coming after the leaderboard on Saturday night.
Yeah, no, mate. Welcome to everyone, and thanks for having me again as always. But I did not expect Daniel Berger to be the one that would sort of falter down the stretch there. But yeah, he left it open for the others to chase, and another first-time winner and another international star maybe on the rise. Sepp Stracker's been around a while though.
Yes, he's a very good player. It's funny, 4 first-time winners in the last 5 weeks on the PGA Tour. None of the guys are completely out of nowhere. We've had Luke List, Tom Hoge, Scotty Scheffler, Sepp Straka, all the guys that coming into the year, you was like, yeah, okay, I can see that. Well, yeah. I just might have a guy that can make it 5 out of 6 this week. We'll get to that at some point as we go through our 18 holes. All right, let's tee it up. You're on the first tee, Benny. Where are you going with the first bet of the week?
Well, I want you to tell me. See, I've got a bunch at the far end and a bunch sort of at the low end this week in terms of odds and risks. See, so it's an interesting scenario where I usually find myself in the middle, but this week I find myself either conservative or way off the map. So where should I start, mate?
You tell me, whatever you like. Give me a good one to start.
All right, let's go with...
Don't tease the people too much.
No worries. All right, let's just go with a guy that I've been talking about for a couple of weeks. Had another half-decent week last week. It's going to be my top 40 play for this week. Not huge odds, but it is a plus figure. You can sort of get plus 110 around this guy who's just moved to 51st in the world. Why is that significant? Look, he wants to get in the top 50 for players, for masters, for all this sort of thing. Cameron Young to continue his form. 110 is good value from the market that you can see where you don't often get the plus value for top 40, but I think he's got a lot to play for and he's been in great form, so I'm going to ride it.
You've got me switching up my list already before I've even started. I go to hole 2, and I'm going to move some things around because I do have Cameron Young on my list. You've got him top 40. I'm going to cut that in half. I'm going to go top 20 plus 330. Cameron Young, like you said, playing really good golf, 3 top 20s in his last 4 starts. He might be the new Sungjae Im. We've seen Sungjae take a couple of weeks off already this year. Cameron Young seems like he plays every single week. Hey, when you're a rookie and it's been your dream to get out there on the PGA Tour and you finally got a chance, step on the gas pedal, take that chance. Really good driver of the golf ball, hits it a mile. I think that's going to help him a lot at Bay Hill this week. And so there we go. We've made 2 bets and they're both on Cameron Young so far. All right, hole number 3.
Hole number 3, I'll go to my absolute long shot. People might not know much about this bloke. I might have my bias hat on again, but check out young Min Woo Lee, 200 to 1 or more. He hasn't got form in the US in the events he's played, but he is a Scottish Open winner and he is suited to this course and has had some practice out there and likes what he sees. Now, look, complete long shot. You've got to, spread it across the 40, 20, 10 if you like, but he also knows how to win. So if he gets himself in contention, he'll be able to go hard at it. Drives the golf ball brilliantly. Min Woo Lee, he's got the pedigree. Keep an eye on him.
Benny, you're right about a lot of that stuff. He's a big-time talent. He's going to be good at some point. He's been absolutely horrendous in the U.S. so far in his very young career. I wrote him up this week as a low-end DFS play. If you're getting a little scared off by, you know what, he's top 20, top 30. I don't really like it. Maybe it's 6,400 in DraftKings this week. We don't talk DFS on this pod too much, but that might be the way to go. So in any case, I do think that there's some value there. All right. Hole number 4. Look, I'm surprised I've gone this long. I'm surprised I've gone 4 minutes into the pod and not mentioned this name yet. Cause I mention him every week. And quite frankly, Benny, I might like him more this week than all the other weeks. I am so high on Keith Mitchell right now.
Hey.
4 top 12 finishes in 5 starts so far in 2022. And I'm not sure any of these courses he's played have suited him like Bay Hill suits him. He's got a 5th and a 6th place finish in 3 career starts. I'm going top 5 at 7 to 1 this week on Keith Mitchell.
I knew that was coming. So I dead set took him out of my picks. I was like, you know what? I'll just back you when you say him. So I don't have him as one of my 9 this week, but I definitely tell people to listen to you on that one. He's just been trending for so long, and it's got to come. And this is a place for him. All right, let's go. Hole 5. I'm going to go first round leader. This one's always a bit of a lottery pick. On a guy that's sort of on the peripheral of contention this week. You might want to look at him at top 10 at odds and that sort of thing as well. But Chris Kirk, T7 last week, the best showing in a long time. He'd been going okay at Scottsdale as well. I think he was top 15 or top 20 at Scottsdale as well. And he's 4 for 5 at Bay Hill, had a top 10, I think last year, and has 4 top 15s there. I just feel like he might get some action going and might be worth the 6,000 or whatever, plus 6,000 you can sort of get for that first round lead. Will he be able to sort of go all the way through? Not certain, but again, have a look at him. Maybe you want to sprinkle a few of those 20s, 10s as well.
You know, it's very funny, Benny. As we were waiting to get down the pod here, I got a message from somebody on Twitter who said, "Hey, what do you think about Chris Kirk this week?" I said, contended last week. Yeah, look, I don't love him, but I don't hate him. I'm okay with it. And then I went and did a little double check of those results at API. Wow, wait a second here. Chris Kirk has had a very strong record. And Bay Hill is one of those courses where you tend to see the same players on the leaderboard year after year after year. One of them, I have a feeling the Aussie Whisperer is going to be talking about at some point in the pod in a little bit. All right, you went first round leader. I will also go first round leader for the 6th hole. Another guy who tends to play well here every single year, 9 straight made cuts. He's got a couple of top 5 finishes, tends to start strong on a regular basis. That's Keegan Bradley. Keegan Bradley at 80-1 to take that first round lead this week. Caveat right now, we are giving these picks before we have seen the tee times, but quite frankly, and I live about 10 minutes away from Bay Hill, I don't know that there's a massive differential we're going to see this week. For one of the first times all year, I don't really see an edge where say, okay, well, in the morning, it's going to be a little bit colder and the ball's not going to carry like we saw on the West Coast. So maybe go after the afternoon guys. Last week, we were saying, you know what? It's windy at PGA National. Take the morning guys because it's going to start blowing in the afternoon. This week, I kind of go, it's sort of the same all day. It's going to get a little hot and sticky here pretty early, and it's going to persist throughout the entire day. It's about the same all day. So I'm not worried too much about tee times. Keegan Bradley for me at 80-1. Hole number 7.
Yeah, just on that, we're 120 in the field, right? So you get less of a spread as well in those tee times. So,
yeah, very good point.
Yeah, not something to worry about as much as normal. But yes, hole 7, you're throwing me to. Okay, I'll go down to one of my sort of shorter priced picks, if you will, and go into that top 20 market. A guy that leads the FedEx Cup at the moment. 9 for 9 to start the year, 7 for 7 at Bay Hill, a couple of top 25s as well. In the top 20 last year, so I think you can keep that going. Hideki Matsuyama for me, just so solid. I feel like he'll be building into the players where I'm higher on him, to be honest. But it's one of those ones where you can get the plus 130. Why not take it, bank it? Let's go.
Plays and practices right down the road from Bay Hill at the Golden Bear Club at Keens Point. So not only does he know the golf course this week, but knows sort of the regular conditions around here, knows the grass, knows the weather patterns, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to follow your top 20 with my top 20 for the 8th hole. There have been a lot of bets. You ever see on social media where the books will tweet out, siren emojis with big bet alert, watch out. And there've been a few of them lately on Carlos Ortiz. And when it happens, you go, whoa, what does someone else know that I don't know? Apparently nothing, because he hasn't played that great yet. A couple of top 40s in his last 2 starts, but I can almost see it coming. I can see the rationale behind, okay, I'm going to bet Carlos Ortiz until he pops, and I think he's going to pop at some point. I'm not going all in on the big bet alert this week and taking him there, but just for a top 20, starting to play some decent golf, plus 450, I think that's a nice number. So I will go with Ortiz.
No worries, mate. Yeah, not bad. Okay, I haven't really been watching him that closely, but he's an international guy, not American, so I've got to give him some love. Go for it. My next one, look, I'll have a looking around at the matchups and a couple of trios on DraftKings that sort of caught my eye. And of course, it's one of my Aussie mates again, but you can get plus 160 Adam Scott over Russell Henley and Jason Kokrak. And for me, that's money for jam at Bay Hill. Adam Scott is really good on that track. Should have cleaned up and won by 1 million one year and only to fold to one of Matt Every's wins. But Scotty just knows that place well. Again, he's been trying to peak heading into the Players and then into Augusta. He's on that trend. He played pretty decent at Riviera. I think that's a sort of an easy get over Henley and Kokrak.
You hear that music? That's right, folks. He comes from a land down under, the Aussie Whisperer. We are making the turn here, hole number 10, and I'm going off campus. I'm going away from Bay Hill for just a minute. Now, we are recording at, it's 9:00 Eastern time, Monday evening. The odds for the Puerto Rico Open are, for some reason, not out. I've not seen, again, it's an opposite field event. I get there's been people dropping out of the field left and right. I get that there's a lot of uncertainty and volatility here. I'm not sure I remember a PGA Tour event that didn't have odds this late on a Monday that were out in any book. It's almost like nobody wants to be first. None of the books want to be the first one to go, all right, we'll do it. So they're all waiting for each other, I think, to drop the odds. That said, when the odds do come out, 4 names I will be looking at for outright plays in Puerto Rico this week. Rafa Cabrera-Bello with a win and a second place finish in his last 8 worldwide starts. Joseph Bramlett playing some nice golf, and he's played well in that region in the past. Mark Hubbard, who's had a couple of title contentions on Korn Ferry and PGA Tour in the last 2 weeks. And Chase Seiffert, who had it going at least for the first couple of days at Honda last week. Those are my 4 outright plays for the Puerto Rico Open. I might throw a Brian Stewart in there. I might throw a Chase Goddard up as a big-time underdog, the collegiate player out of Oklahoma, but that's always fun to play. So don't neglect the Puerto Rico Open if and when they actually come out with some odds this week. All right, hole 11, Betty.
Is Dylan Wu in that field? He should be one
to believe. Yeah,
he should be one to keep an eye on. Oh, mate, you're not high on Mark Hensby getting a crack there, or
there are some names in there, man. Smiley Kaufman coming back, Carl Pedersen. I believe my guy Chris Couch got into the field today. I'm not sure if he's going or not. I think he's given lessons on the range at Westow right now, where you've played in the past with me. But
it was huge news today when Olin Brown WD'd from Puerto Rico. Anyway, look, it's what it is. If we jest a little bit, what it is a great opportunity for those guys to get a PGA Tour win. And you're right. Once that market comes out, definitely look around, because it might be worth something where you can just throw a lottery pick in, put your $5 on someone that's out there at odds that you've heard of before, and they could very easily make something of their career right there in Puerto Rico. Better
chance of a guy who's 150 to 1 winning at the Puerto Rico Open than at the Arnold Palmer Invitational this week.
You know, you've just given me a great segue, actually, because my mid-range long shot is 150 to 1.
Ooh.
So I'm going to go on this guy. Look, and this is all I can say is this is maybe one of those feel bets, right? Rather than anything concrete. It's just going for the story, trying to back the story. And that's Sahith Theegala, 150 to 1. Just a super talent. Look, hasn't got the super experience around Bay Hill. Will the track suit him? I don't really know, but I do know that he's in a great headspace. He's very hungry to win after missing out in Phoenix. And I think that 150 is a great number for someone who could easily break out at any stage.
There are a whole lot of guys with big numbers like that, or even bigger, next to their names this week at Bay Hill, where you go, yeah, maybe I can say, how about, I'm going to give you 4 international team players, and the last of which is my actual bet here for the 12th hole. But how about Brandon Grace, who won the Puerto Rico Open last year and is a world-class player. Taylor Pendrith, look, the rough is thick this week. I want a big dude who can mash it out of there. He qualifies. Cam Davis getting no love in the marketplace this week. Cam Davis with massive odds this week. Hey, anywhere you have to drive it well, Cam Davis should be a pretty good player. And then the guy that I'm actually picking here, Dylan Frittelli, who had a nice week last week. I believe I mentioned him on the pod a week ago. I'm just taking him very conservatively for a top 40 at plus 140. But if you'd like to cut that in half, a top 20 for, I believe, twice the number or 3 times the number, I think that's a pretty good play on Frittelli this week too.
I like it, mate. Well, I'll give the tip. My last 3 holes are sort of not the biggest value, if you will, out there on the market, but I just feel like I have to attack these guys. So my top 10 we'll go down for, I'll go 10-5, and then my winner will be my last hole. But my top 10 is a former champion at the event. I think he's got a little angry ant in him and likes to do well at a place like this as things sort of ramp up in the season. And Tyrrell Hatton at plus 250 for a top 10 is something that I enjoyed seeing in terms of value. He's never missed a cut at Bay Hill. I think he's had 5 attempts there before. He won in 2020, as I mentioned, and he was T6 and T4 in January and overseas. So I feel like that 250 is pretty decent value for the top 10.
When you said a former champion, Benny, I would have swore you were going Marc Leishman right there. Maybe we still hear Alicia's name in the next couple of picks. All right, hole 14. I'm going with a matchup play. The top 2 plays on the board. I'm fading the guy at the top. I'm taking Rory McIlroy and his stellar record at this one. 6 finishes of 11th or better in 7 career starts, including the win back in 2018 over Jon Rahm, who's never played this event before. That to me is just a smash play. Usually for matchups, I like digging a little bit below the surface. I like looking for guys who, let me find some value in the mid tier, the lower tier of guys who might not be priced out right. I'm usually looking beyond the superstars. This time, I think Rory right about even money in a matchup against Rahm, maybe minus 105 or so. I like that play a lot. I think that's a really smart play this week.
Mate, you pushed me straight towards hole 15 with my top 5 pick, Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
I think he's, again, another guy not missed a cut at Bay Hill, has a win there in 2018, 5 times top 10s in a row, I think, 5 in a row, maybe, at Bay Hill. Ridiculous. And it's funny that you said that, because I looked at the same markets in the trios as well. There's a few trios with that you can get out there with Rahm, Rory, and whoever else it is, where Rory is not the favorite, Rahm is, and I just don't see that. Look, Rahm's incredible. Clearly, he's the best player in the world at the moment on the rankings, so we know that. But you got to know some of the nuances at Bay Hill. Usually, you got to have some sort of pedigree there. And to be frank, I think Rahm's probably thinking the week after as well, as much as anything. He's probably looking at it as a bit of a warm up into the players. So I think Rory is out there for anyone who wants him this week.
I wonder if by the time we get to Thursday morning, these odds are a little bit tighter at the top of the outright board, where Rory closes that gap between him and Rahm. And in fact, hole 16, I'm going to go back to this. Look, I am not in a full fade of Jon Rahm this week. It's not like I hate him. I never hate him. The guy's the best player in the world, like you just said. That said, he is on DraftKings right now, plus 750 to win this tournament.
No.
Okay, 7.5 to 1. Whatever. He shouldn't be, but okay, that's the odds. He's plus 650, 6.5 to 1 to miss the cut. I'm going to take Jon Rahm to miss the cut. Do I really think it's going to happen? No, not really. Do I like that number? Yes, I do. I really like 6.5 to 1 to miss the cut this week. I get it. There's only 120 players. More than half the players are going to make the cut. But if indeed Jon Rahm is looking at this more as, maybe he's got to fulfill one of those deals where he's got to play a different event. He chose this one. Hey, I'm going to be in Florida for next week anyway, and I'll get out of there by Friday afternoon, drive up to Ponte Vedra Beach, and I'll be at TPC Sawgrass for a couple extra days. You never know. And so we've seen Jon Rahm miss cuts in the past at places where he should have made it. Plus 650 feels like a really nice value to take a chance on that.
Yeah, mate. It smacks as a week too. Like, Rahm was struggling with the putter at Genesis, right? And I think in the final round, he changed his putter too and was tinkering. This to me smacks of I'm not quite feeling exactly comfortable as I want for the Players' Championship. I'm going to go play, maybe tinker a few things, maybe check a few things, maybe try a putter or whatever it might be. And now, of course, that could mean he could go out and go lights out, right? He's that good of a talent. Mm-hmm. But it could also mean that if 2 balls go in the water early in his first or second round, that things start, the mind goes to next week. Right. It's got some great stuff happening. He's just announced that they're expecting their second child as well. Certain things, he's got some good things in his life to be happy about. Distractions, I don't know. But 650 for a miscut is definitely a better value than 750 to win it before they hit a ball.
Exactly.
So I'm with you. All right. So we're at 17th, right? My winner. You've teased it all day. Everyone knows this was coming. Anyone who knows me knows this was coming. But I am going to stay with the Aussie, Marc Leishman. It is one of his 2 favorite tracks on tour every year. He has won there in 2017. legitimately in form, heading towards Bay Hill where he loves to play. I think I saw 28 to 1, 30 to 1, even 40 in some places, which I think is brilliant value if you can get it. He's had 3, I think, top 3s there as well, including the win. 6 top 25,
a third, yeah.
Yeah, like just, and he comes off a T15 at Riv. Like, I can't go past him. Look, I know the rest of you might think there's some biases. So if you're worried and not as gung-ho as I am, definitely look at the 5, the 10, the 20. But like, Leish never plays bad at Bay Hill, and he's in good spirits.
I would like the people to know that you and I don't talk about our picks beforehand at all. We don't mention them. We don't go over them with each other. I had absolutely no idea where you were going. And yet on the 13th hole, I said, that's interesting. I was expecting you to name Marc Leishman pretty soon. I knew it was coming. I knew you were going with Leish at some point. I've got no problem with it. I also like him in the first round leader market as well. Yes. He's got a nice little first round scoring average at Bay Hill, in addition to, the other 3 rounds as well. All right, 18th hole, last hole. It's always a tough one at Bay Hill. You know that. There's water. We got to carry the water, carry the rocks, and hopefully we can get a tiger putt to go down and slam our hat down in victorious triumph like he once did. So my favorite play on the board, mentioned right off the top of the pod, Benny, 4 first-timers in the last 5 weeks. I could see a 5th first-timer in 6 weeks. Will Zalatoris, my favorite outright play on the board this week. The guy is a tremendous ball striker. We already know that. Finished 10th at this event in his first start last year. He's got a 2nd, a 6th, and a 26th in 3 starts so far this year. I think putting is neutralized a bit at Bay Hill. Essentially, no one's going to make too many. No one's going to miss too many. It's going to be a whole lot of 2 putts. Give me the guys that strike it the best tee to green. And there aren't a whole lot that do it better than Will Zalatoris at 28 to 1. I am jumping all over that play, Benny.
Yeah, you know what? I can't believe I've left him out of all my 9 bets. That's a great call. Again, with this slot in the schedule with the players following it up, the guys that are going to have that little bit more hunger, even if things start to go, you have a bad hole here or there, are the ones that haven't won, or the ones that, don't have that sort of mentality of trying to peak the week after. And so huge plus, huge ceiling there on Zalatoris. Definitely a good pick for people to look at.
Can't wait for this week to get going. I'll be out at the Arnold Palmer Invitational throughout the entire week. Can't wait to get out there and see all the guys and see the rough. It's going to be some thick stuff out there. It's going to be very, very difficult once again at Bay Hill. For Ben Everill, I'm Jason Sobel. Thanks to everybody out there for listening to this episode of the Links and Locks podcast. Remember, you can find our podcast anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Download, subscribe, rate us, and yes, listen every single week. Good luck with all of your bets for this week's Arnold Palmer Invitational. Here's hoping you hit the green.